So this is my first official test of the 100-watt Thunderbolt folding solar panels, and I paired them with a Jackery 290, and as you can see, it's currently charging at 63 watts and 71% battery. So I plugged this in exactly 1 hour ago, and it was at 51%. So we've gone up exactly 20% in 1 hour. And I watched several videos of basically this exact combo, a Jackery 290 and these Thunderbolt 100-watt panels. And that's basically what everybody's getting, 20% per hour. So that's pretty good. From an absolute, completely dead Jackery solar generator, you can fully charge it in sun, you know, in decent sun, in about 5 hours. So this is on the Oregon coast. We've got a beautiful bright blue sky. Let me see if I can try to block the sun out. You know, there's very few tiny little clouds in the sky there. So this is kind of ideal conditions for my particular area on the southern Oregon coast, but that's pretty good. So the input wattage of 63 watts here, let me cover this up. There we go, 63 watts. That isn't the maximum the panels can produce. That's actually what the internal charge controller limits the Jackery to be charged at. So this particular pair, it's charging the solar generator at max capacity off of these pair of solar panels. I've seen a lot of video reviews on these particular folding style solar panels. They're rated at 100 watts, but most of the time they put out in good conditions 120, 122 watts. So I think they're actually 60-watt panels that they just derated, called them 50 watters. But it certainly puts out what it says it can. Pretty cool. So today's another day. We've got the Thunderbolt folding 100-watt panels out again. Testing with the Jackery plugged in. You can see we're currently pulling in 36 watts from the panel. And I wanted to set this up specifically today because, as you can see, the sun is kind of behind a big old cloud up there. So this is more typical of the weather that I get in my area. Perfect blue sky like the first test, not near as common in my area. So this is more of a real world test for me. And as you can see, we're sitting at 42, 43 watts, 44 watts. So the sun's starting to come back out now from behind that cloud. 47 watts. But this is more of a real world test for me. Just to see what kind of wattage we're going to get from a sun that's partially blocked by clouds. So yeah, that's decent. I can live with that. So this is a test I've wanted to do for quite a while here. I've got my Milwaukee M18 charger plugged directly into the Jackery here, and you can see at rest with no battery, it's taking 4 watts to just sit here and idle. So we've got, this is a XC 3.0 M18 battery. I think we've got about 3/4 of a charge in it. And I just want to see, number one, is it possible for the Jackery to run this charger? And if so, what sort of amp draw does it have? I did do a test earlier on some of my older Craftsman C3 stuff, and that pulled about 76 watts charging. So the Jackery can charge the Craftsman cordless stuff. Let's see if we can do Milwaukee. Let's plug this guy on here real quick. And it's hard to tell, but it is lit up red. So it says we're charging. And it is currently pulling 13, 34, 54 watts. Wonder if we're going to see this go up incrementally. 71 watts, 70. I want to see it plateau and what it's going to sit at, really. 73. I don't know if this charger, you know, ramps up or down wattage depending on charge state of the battery, I really don't know. 72 watts. Now it's starting to taper it off some. 77. So 77 appears to be about the highest wattage so far. Again, it hasn't tripped out. It hasn't done anything weird. We're sitting at 72 watts right now. So I think an average 3 to 5 amp hour Milwaukee M18 battery is going to take around an hour to charge. So this Jackery would have no problem doing that. You could charge actually several M18 batteries off of a full charge Jackery. So that's good news. I can charge the M18 stuff off of the Jackery. It's just kind of the ultimate goal there. Let's take a look at it again. 76 watts. Not bad. So we're back. It's been, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. We are still charging. As you can see on the Jackery, it's pulling 73 to, the highest I've seen is 78 watts. So very comparable to when I was using the Craftsman charger on it, testing that as well. So we'll go up here. It's going to be hard to see. You can see the light's still red. This battery is actually pretty close to being done anyhow, but at least that answers that question. Yes, you can charge an M18 battery off the Jackery. The highest watts, again, that I've seen it draw yet, 78, meaning if this was plugged into, the Jackery was plugged into my panel in full sun, you know, and it's pumping 60 to 68 watts into this thing, you're really only at full draw charging the battery. You know, you're really only pulling like 10 watts. So, again, if this was plugged into the solar panel and you had good sun, 10 watt draw, you could charge a large amount of batteries without hardly pulling anything off the Jackery, again, plugged in. But it's good to know, with a full Jackery battery, you could charge 3 to 4 of these M18 batteries. That is assuming that this battery charges from whatever capacity it is to full in an hour or less. A full Jackery will charge 3 to 4 of those batteries. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good test. I'm actually pretty satisfied with that. Now, as you can see, we're pulling 48 watts, 46 watts. It looks like the wattage is starting to taper off, meaning I bet this M18 battery is about full. The charger's probably sensing that and lowering the charge into it. Let's take a look. It's still red, so it's not full yet, but it's got to be close. Now where are we at? 43 watts. Yeah, so it 41. So this continues to taper off towards the end of the charge cycle as far as current and watt draw. But it will do it. That's good to know. All right, well, can it run a Dremel tool? I've got the Dremel tool, as you can see, plugged directly into the Jackery. Let's turn this thing on and see what happens. So try to get both in one frame here. This is it on its slowest setting. It's 12 watts. Let's run it up here. $17 watts. 28. 37. That's all the way up right there at 51 watts. So, yes, the Jackery can run a Dremel tool. That's good to know. Alright, so another test of the Jackery. I've got this plugged into my household lamp above the 3D printer here. And let's see if it can power the lamp. I'm going to step on the power cord over here. Well, it's on. 8 or 9 watts. Now there's a 10. So we'll pan up here and I'll show you that it is in fact on. And this is actually an LED bulb. So it's 120 volt AC, but it's an LED bulb. And we're drawing 11 watt. So with an LED bulb in a 110 AC lamp, 10 watts, that's pretty darn good. We could run this light for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours off of this Jackery 290. That is pretty sweet.